New England Patriots cornerback Stephon Gilmore has not reported for Patriots mandatory minicamp, and it's time for the Seahawks to get the ball rolling, to pick up the phone and try to make a trade happen. That's the question for you today. Do you think they should? Do you think that the Seahawks should keep doing what they have been doing? Keep trading draft picks for veterans? Because at some point this is going to catch up with them. You trade away all of these draft picks and you don't have a draft. You don't have cost-effective young players that you're hoping are going to develop into good players. Hasn't really exactly worked out the way that they wanted it to over the last couple of drafts. You haven't really seen a whole lot out of LJ Collier that makes you feel great about him as a first-round pick. We're still waiting to see what Darrell Taylor is going to do. I like the early returns from Jordan Brooks, but when you look at next year, even if Stephon Gilmore is turning 31 at the beginning of the year and would probably cost at the very least a second-round pick for possibly only 1 year of his services, just look at the Seahawks secondary. I like DJ Reed a lot. Do you really trust DJ Reed for the entirety of a season to be your number one corner? And look, he looked good down the stretch last year, but are you expecting what you saw out of DJ Reed against banged-up Kyler Murray, Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, Colt McCoy, Dwayne Haskins? Are you expecting that to replicate itself next year when the Seahawks go up against better quarterbacks and they have a more difficult slate of quarterbacks this coming season? Maybe the Packers don't have Aaron Rodgers, but they do play Green Bay. It's a more difficult slate. And while I would love to see DJ Reed pick up where he left off last year and continue to do what he did last season, if Stephon Gilmore is available, I think you start making phone calls. I think you try to find a way to get the NFL Defensive Player of the Year at cornerback just a couple of years ago on your team. Because, okay, DJ Reed, you like him. But who's the number two corner? Is it going to be Akello Witherspoon? Is it going to be Pierre Desir? Demarius Randall? Ugo Amadi? Are you going to go with two small guys on the outside? There's a lot of questions about that position. And while I trust Pete Carroll to get the absolute most that he possibly can out of whoever he puts at cornerback, just given his background working in the secondary, you can do better. And you don't want to find yourself at the end of this coming season looking back and saying, what if we had Stephon Gilmore? What if in a playoff matchup against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, say Aaron Rodgers is still with the Packers, Matt Stafford, I guess, with the Los Angeles Rams? You don't want to have that conversation. What if we had decided to make that trade happen? And if you have been as aggressive as you've been over the last couple of years, why not keep being aggressive? Yeah, there probably will be a point where this comes back to bite you in the tuchus. But this trade, I like a whole lot more than the idea of trading for Julio Jones. You have DK Metcalf, you have Tyler Lockett. That wasn't a necessary one. This one, I feel, is a necessary one.